Today's story is about a nun who made a heartbreaking sacrifice, offering her son on the altar. His screams still echo in the chapel. In the late 1800s, whispers spread about a strange illness hitting nuns in France. It was said that these poor women were being tormented by a demon who demanded one terrible thing from them: blood. But when the demon finally revealed itself to one brave nun, she made a horrifying deal with it. When Sister Ignatia woke up in the middle of the night, she didn't realize that her life was about to change forever. She sat up in bed and tried to make sense of what she had just seen. In her dream, a demon had appeared to her in the form of an emaciated old man with skin like parchment and eyes that burned like hot coals. He told her he'd been haunting the convent for years, feeding off the energy of the innocent nuns and draining their life force. Ignatia had woken up screaming, her heart pounding in her chest. It wasn't the first time she'd had this dream. For weeks, Ignatia and the other nuns had been plagued by nightmares of a creature that lurked in the shadows of the convent, feeding on their fear and their blood. The dreams had started shortly after a series of strange occurrences had begun to plague the convent. Unexplainable noises in the dead of night, objects moving on their own, sudden drops in temperature. All of these things could be attributed to the wind or perhaps the settling of an old building. But then the dreams began. At first, they were just disturbing, featuring grotesque creatures and scenes of unimaginable horror. But as the weeks went on, the dreams became more vivid, more real, and Ignatia knew that something was terribly wrong. When she awoke from her latest nightmare, she got up and went to the window. The moon was full, casting an eerie glow over the grounds of the convent. As she looked out into the darkness, she could have sworn she saw a pair of eyes staring back at her, burning like hot coals in the darkness. She wasn't sure how long she stood there, but eventually she went back to bed and tried to sleep. But the creature from her dreams was relentless. It seemed to sense her fear, and it toyed with her, making her dreams more terrifying than ever before. Finally, Ignatia couldn't take it anymore. She got out of bed and went to the chapel. She fell to her knees before the altar and prayed for help. She didn't know what the creature wanted from her, but she knew she had to do something to stop it. As she prayed, she felt a presence behind her, a cold, malevolent force that seemed to seep into her bones. She turned around and saw the creature from her dreams standing behind her. "What do you want from me?" Ignatia whispered, her voice shaking. The demon smiled, and it was a smile that promised only pain and suffering. "I'm Asmodeus, the demon, and I've been waiting for you." Ignatia knew in that moment that she had only one choice. She had to make a deal with the demon, and so she did. Asmodeus agreed to stop haunting the convent and tormenting the nuns if Ignatia would give her something precious. Ignatia hesitated, but she knew that there was no other choice. She had to do whatever it took to protect her sisters. "I'll give you anything," she whispered. Asmodeus smiled, her eyes gleaming with triumph. "Very well, then give me your son." Ignatia's heart broke. She had only one baby boy who was the light of her life. But what choice did she have? She agreed to the deal. The next morning, Ignatia went to the other nuns and told them what she had done. They were horrified, but they knew that she had saved them. Ignatia was banished from the convent, and she spent the rest of her days in poverty, haunted by the memory of the son she had sacrificed. As for the demon, he was never seen again, and the convent was finally free from his clutches. But the memory of the bloody nun who had bargained with the devil lingered on, and the story became a legend, a warning to those who would dare to dabble with the forces of darkness. Our next story is about a nun who actually traded her son's heart to seal a deal with the devil. There once was a nun who made a pact with the devil. She just became a part of the convent. She was very ambitious and wanted more than what the church could offer her. She wanted power, wealth, and fame. So she turned to the devil and made a deal with him. The devil would give her everything she ever wanted if she could do one thing for him. She'd have to sell her firstborn's heart to the devil. She agreed and soon found herself living the life she always wanted. For a time, she was happy, but as she grew older, she began to regret her decision. She had become very powerful and influential, but at what cost? She gave up her son, her spirit, and all her chances for happiness, choosing a life filled with sin and regret. As she lay on her deathbed, she knew that the devil was coming for her and her little boy. She had done everything he asked of her and more. She had used her power to corrupt others and bring them to the dark side. She had done his work in spreading misery and despair. When the devil came to collect on his prize, she was ready. She had prepared a special room in the convent where he would come, a room packed with dark power, and there's her boy, lying on the floor, completely out of it. The walls were covered with symbols of darkness, and the air was thick with the stench of brimstone. The devil entered the room and was pleased with what he saw. He had found the perfect vessel for his evil plans, and now he had her all to himself. She cried out for forgiveness as he reached for her boy, but it was too late. The damage was done, and there was no turning back. The devil took the boy's heart and tore the nun's soul from her body and cast it into the fiery pits of hell. There, she was tortured for all eternity. And that is the story of the nun who gave her son's heart to seal her pact with the devil. A story of ambition, power, and the corrupting influence of sin. The nun's lust for a better life led her to make a terrible mistake that ultimately led to her damnation. She is a warning to us all that no matter how good we think we are, we should never make deals with the devil. Thank you for watching.